Hello everybody, welcome to my quilting video. My name is Fiber Arts Amy. My name is Amy. I'm Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. I'm going to be doing a quilting video today. For those of you who have been waiting for a floss tube, because I know it's been a hot minute, don't worry, that will be coming. But I'm doing a quilting video today because I happen to be at my cabin where I have a lot of quilts that I've never shown, and I thought I would take the opportunity to try to do that. I do have some eye candy in the background. This is Scent of Old Roses, which I've shown before, probably on, I think probably even like my very first video. I would have shown Scent of Old Roses. Anyway, I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna kind of travel around my cabin and show you a bunch of the quilts that are here, most of which were made by me, some of which were picked up at like antique malls and whatnot. And then at the end, I'm gonna show you some of what I've been working on while I've been here. I've been in a cutting mood while I've been here. Well, and a spinning mood. I've been spinning like yarn. I've been stitching. I've been spinning yarn, and I've been cutting. As far as quilting goes, I've been cutting for tons of quilts. So tons. That's an exaggeration. I've been cutting for several quilts. So maybe next time I come, if I'm in a sewing mood, I'll just start putting those together. And obviously, I'm only sharing what I've been doing here at the cabin this week. Because I'm not home to show you what's there. My apologies if you can hear the washer and dryer, which are through that door. They're a little bit loud, but they do need to be running right now. Anyway, I'm gonna get started. So we do, at home, we have a queen size bed. Here we have a king size bed. And my hair is like really crazy today. You guys love me anyway, right? It's pretty bad. Anyway, when we bought the bed and we bought the cabin, which we did kind of almost on a whim, well, kind of, anyway, I needed king size quilts, like in a hurry. So one way I did that was with this quilt. So some of you, depending on your memory, may remember back at, I'm going to show king size quilt on here. Back at home in Pittsburgh, I have shown you guys a connecting threads quilt that used some of these fabrics to make it's a jelly roll quilt, or jelly roll style quilt, that is kind of done, it looks like bricks of different colors, and it's done kind of on a diagonal with different, like, kind of a rainbow. So there's like a stripes of reds, and then yellows, and then greens, and blues, and purples. They gave me, it was connecting threads kit, and they gave way more fabric than you needed. So it's huge. What I did with the leftovers, so you can see some of these little pieces. I don't like throwing things away if I can help it. So these little pieces here are from, like, they're like the leftovers at the end of a jelly roll strip for making that quilt. And then there were some strips I didn't use at all. So like these I didn't use, I think, at all in that quilt. I tried to stick to things that would read more as single color. I mean, these would have looked fine with the yellows, but there was enough blue in them that I didn't really want to mix them in on that quilt. So I just set them aside. So what I did when I was done, it's not that exciting of a quilt. I don't even know, I'm trying to show you the whole thing. I basically just did like a jelly roll race with the leftovers. For those of you who aren't familiar, a jelly roll race is when you take a jelly roll and you sew all of this, you trim off all the selvages, and then you sew all of the short edges together. So you have one huge strip that would be 42 times 42 inches long, approximately. And then you fold it in half and you sew one giant seam down the long end. and then you fold it in half again and sew another giant seam, and you keep doing that until you have about a 60 by 60 inch quilt. It's a fun and easy way to make a quilt quickly. I basically use that concept to make this, although it ends up being more, it's about 60 inches wide, I think, but more than that long. And I just interspersed, like I just grabbed kind of random strips and interspersed the little pieces. So anyway, then I had this kind of large-ish center portion, like a big center block, and then all I did was I did the math to figure out how big I wanted my quilt. I took some fabrics that I didn't know, I thought would go okay, and I didn't know what I would use for something else. And I cut a huge piece to do a top border. So this color shows up, this fabric here, which I remember I bought it from a shop in Florida. We lived in Florida. But this fabric here shows up as both a top and bottom border. And then again, did the math for how wide I wanted it. And this is a fabric from Joann's. I used to buy a lot of fabric from Joann's that I put on either side. And quick and easy. I think it's kind of fun and interesting, honestly. I wish I could show you like a better view of the whole thing. But just kind of quick and easy quilt to get on our bed here. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is a favorite. This quilt, we call it our Great Wolf Lodge quilt. For those of you who don't know what Great Wolf Lodge is, it's an indoor water park, and it's amazing. There's actually lots of them. There's a chain. I do think it's mostly in the northeast of the US. I think there's at least one in Canada. I think there's one in Toronto. Anyway, we love it, and we wanted to go to one before, we like dreamed of going to one for a long time before we ever got to go. And it's a water park, but it's like a like woodsy outdoors camping kind of theme. I should like stand closer when I'm just talking to you. Anyway, my husband especially is like really into it, and I don't know how this happened exactly, but I'm a big fan of thimbleberries. Lynette Jensen, I think was her name. As far as I know, she does not design anymore. She used to design fabric and patterns. She has phenomenal books. And when I started quilting and discovered thimbleberries, I think she had either just stopped designing or like she was kind of like in her last kind of years of designing. But I went and collected all of the thimbleberries books I could find. I love her quilts. They're typically pretty simple, but beautiful and kind of classic. A lot of them has spaces to show off big, beautiful prints, which appeals to the tulip pink lover in me. I can just sit and like look through thimbleberries books for hours, and I've spent a lot of time doing that over the years. Anyway, this is from, if anybody wants to know the exact pattern name and book, just let me know and I'll look it up. But this is what we started lovingly calling my Great Wolf Lodge quilt, because it's very woodsy. So it's this tree block. I really wish I could show this better. I can't really get back any further. It's just this tree block set on point. So the pattern only goes to there. And then when we bought this cabin, I just added on side borders to make it king size. Okay, Lality Stitches, I feel like you do this so well when you have a large quilt, and I am like failing at this right now. This is my Great Wolf Lodge quilt. So part of the reason it got called the Great Wolf Lodge quilt, I mean, it definitely has like a woodsy vibe to it, right? But I picked out, there was this line of fabric. pretty confident this is not Thimbleberry's fabric, and I don't remember the name of the fabric line, but it's all woodsy themed. So there's bear paw prints, there's roasting marshmallows on a stick. I think this, no, I don't know. I don't want to say what's wrong, say it if it's wrong. There's trees and stars. So the only, I think all the fabrics, I think most of the fabrics were from this line. The fabric that was not from the line are the fireflies, which this, I have it in 3 colors. I have like the natural white, I have yellow, and there was also a blue because I used a blue in some other projects, like an aqua blue. That was really pretty. But so all these fabrics were like camping themed, and like it just has like a gray camouflage feel to it. Now I started this quilt when we lived in Florida. So my oldest son is 12. He's almost 13. We moved out of Florida before he turned 1. I started this at least 12 years ago, probably more. My husband loves this quilt. And it sat. It didn't, there's the backing. It's a wide back. It didn't get worked on for a long time because I was really intimidated by it. I don't know. I'm not sure why. Like looking at where I am now as a quilter compared to then, I'm like, God, why was I intimidated? But I really was. I think this may have been the first quilt that I started that was on point. It felt like there were a lot of pieces and it was really fussy, but that's really not. It's a very simple quilt. But I guess compared to what I'd done before, it felt like a lot. So the quilt pattern, like I said, went to there. And then I only finished this quilt after we bought the cabin. When we bought the cabin probably 5-6 years ago, it was like, okay, Amy, finish the dang Great Wolf Law. Like, this great opportunity. We have a bed. We need to put a quilt on. Let's do it. I just added, basically on the side, this strip where it has one of the lines prints in the middle, and then another one repeated on the top and bottom. But again, well, it's going to be upside down for you guys. It repeats the campy. Ooh, sorry, I'm knocking into my tripod. Also, my tripod's really low. Like, I have it as high as it'll go. Maybe I need to stack it on books or something. But like when I get where, like I have to bend down. I don't know. I still got to work on this how to film a quilting video thing. And the lighting in here sucks. I'm doing my best. So it's just got this really cute camping themed fabric, which seemed perfect for our cabin out here in the middle of the woods. And then this other one that's at the top and the bottom. It's reversed for me, but I'm pretty sure it's right on for you, so you can read that better than I can. But I love this line of fabric. Really, really loved it. That is a family favorite. It's one of my husband's all-time favorite quilts. Okay, here's a quick and easy one that I did. My quilt shop at the time had this as a kit, and it's just a jelly. So all you do is just a jelly roll quilt. You just sew the strips together, and then it's got 2 borders on it. But it makes a twin size quilt. And my husband had seen this and really liked the drop the quilt. He really liked the green and pink and the chocolate brown colors. And so I made this for him, just a quick and easy quilt. I made this years ago. It was, most of my quilts are long arm quilted. This was long armed. Just got a brown backing. Pretty simple. And then if you watch my other quilting videos, you've seen me show my son Logan's Quillo, which is, I just realized there's another quilt up there that I can't really get to. That's okay, we'll skip one. This is my Quillo. So I had made my son a Quillo, which is a quilt that you can fold up into a pillow. I had made him one, here's the pocket, if you want to fold it up into a pillow. I had made him one of, with like dinosaurs. I made this one for myself with Tula Pink. So I love Tula Pink, and this might be my all-time favorite fabric she's ever designed, or very nearly so. This is from, I'm trying to think. Is it the original Parisville? It might not have been. Might have been something else. Anyway, I could not bear to cut into it. I had like 2 yards of it or something, and I couldn't bear to cut into it, so I didn't. This is basically just yardage on one of Tula Pink on one side, yardage of a different Tula Pink on the other side, and you can fold it up into a pillow. I usually just cuddle up under it, and it's just tied too. I use pearl cotton to just tie it at intervals. I just curl up under it and put, oh, I'm gonna fall over. You can't see what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm demonstrating, but I can put my feet in the pocket for the pillow and stay nice and cozy and warm. So that's my Quillo. But seriously, isn't that like the most beautiful fabric? If you're like into Tula Pink type things. Okay, what's next? I have 2 more in here. Pardon me for a moment while I go off camera. Okay, this is one that I bought at a local like antique place. And it's a good size quilt. I would say at least a twin size quilt. I forget that if I have this in front of my face while I'm talking to you, you can't hear me as well. But this is a summer quilt. I've heard them called lots of different things. There's no batting. But it's nice and heavy. I know I'm not the only one that likes a heavy blanket or quilt. Like, I like the weight of something on me. So I did not make this. I bought it. And it's beautiful. All the blocks have the same, nope, there's 2 different fabrics, 2 different star combinations. One has this yellow. Are there 2 or 3? I think there's 3. One has this floral, and then one has this. I think that one's my favorite. Floral. And there is a label. I bought this cheap. I want to say I paid like 50 bucks for it or something at a little antique shop here in West Virginia. I want to find the label to show you guys, which I know is on here. It's embroidered in. Here we go. If anybody recognizes this and they're like, oh, my aunt made it, tell me. I want to know. But it says January 1955. And it's just, yeah, it's just got like plain muslin on the back. And I mean, I just think it's beautifully done. I need to look in the light. I should be wearing my glasses. It's all hand quilted. It's really beautiful. It's beautifully done. But we use it. We absolutely use this quilt. This bedroom is actually quite large. My home back in Pittsburgh is not huge at all. And it's cram-packed with stuff because of my hobbies and my kids. But this bedroom's like a lot of space. There's a bed this way, and this way we have room for, you know, I'm going to twist it so you can see because it's kind of lovely. It's a mess right now because I'm making the bed. But we've got room for 2 chairs. Oops, sorry. And this beautiful bookshelf. Oh, back to me. Sorry if that made you seasick. Some of you book lovers would want to see the bookshelf. So anyway, this stays on my chair here, and it's perfect to just kind of, if you're just like a little chilly on a summer night, just to loop this over your lap. Pardon me while I'm off camera again. One more. This is our designated picnic quilt, and I just finished it, so I may have shown this before, I'm not sure. This is a designated picnic quilt for here. I know I've shown one like this because I've chatted with some of you about it. I've talked to you guys about how You can, I have another quilt I've shown where I use 2 layer cake squares. You put them right sides together. You sew just all along all 4 edges, and then you cut them on each diagonal, and you end up with 4 half square triangles that then you can arrange in different ways. And I have a quilt back in Pittsburgh that I made a pinwheel quilt out of. And then I have this one, which is just, it's same technique. I just put those half square triangles together differently. So this was, I don't remember the name of the fabric line. Kelly, here's some mushrooms, pages and stitches. You love mushrooms. There's mushrooms in there. This was just like a cute kind of juvenile fabric line, but I loved it. I knew my family would love it. There's all kinds of like fruits and rainbows and shooting stars, and made me think of the cabin. So this is like our designated cabin quilt or picnic quilt when we're here at the cabin. Have these like blue and green butterflies on the back. I did get this long arm quilted. I have a new-ish to me long arm quilter in the Pittsburgh area. If anybody is local and they want her name, let me know. But I haven't asked her, so I'm not gonna like blast it on here. She did, I don't think you're gonna be able to see. I love the quilting. It's all like fruits and things. Like there's slices of watermelon, there's bananas, there's cherries. I wonder if I can get like the cherries to show up. Probably not. You're gonna have to take my word for it. It looks amazing in person. So yeah, this is our picnic quilt here. All right, I'm going to move location and I will be back with you in a moment. Maybe. Okay, I'm back. My phone's acting a little funky, so hopefully we're not gonna have trouble saving these videos or getting them uploaded. Did I say today is Friday, August like 4th or 5th? 4th, 2023. These won't be uploaded for several days probably, maybe even more than a week. Anyway, I can't upload here at the cabin. So another quilt that, and I'm out in our 3-season room now, so lighting, it's actually the only place the lighting is decent here. I'm also, though, there's like spinning wheels all around me, so I'm trying not to trip over things. There's a puppy, spinning wheels. My kids have been spinning with me. So anyway, woo. Okay, gotta fix this. I right now have the stand balanced on the bottom of a bowl to give me more height for my stand. Anyway, this is another quilt that I purchased at like an antique shop. I'm pretty sure that at least some of these fabrics have polyester in them, but I thought the quilt was beautiful. It was very inexpensive, and anyway, I loved it. I love quilts like this, just kind of simple. They're all different stripes with like a muslin type background. This also has an embroidered, this looks like a machine embroidered. It's not machine, yeah, well it is. They did it using like a zigzag stitch, I think. But this is also signed. So if anyone knows who this is, let me know. And then they just folded the backing over to make a really thin binding. And this one does have batting in it. But yeah, anyway, this was my other like antique store. I should say my other, there's a couple others upstairs. Please pardon me if you can hear my children. Noise travels far too easily in this cabin, so there's only so much I can do about it. All right, how many of you have a significant other who gets jealous of all of the quilts you make for the children and feels like you don't make enough for them? my husband's a dear, but he does, especially at times, well, the Great Wolf Lodge quilt was like this because it sat languishing for years while I was like pumping out quilts for the kids. And he was like, oh, like that one's for me. How come my quilt never gets done? Anyway, back when I was procrastinating the Great Wolf Lodge quilt, I made this quick and easy quilt for my husband. My husband's, you know, he loves pirates and, you know, that kind of stuff. We had kids at this point, but I found this fabric line that had come out, which I thought was adorable, and just made this really quick and easy quilt for my hubby. I should have planned this better. Let me move the spinning wheel so I can back up. All right. I don't know. I can't see what you're seeing, but it's just like bands of, you know, these blocks, and then that border print again at the bottom. It's got the fun treasure map. Anyway, this was a quick and easy and less stressful way to get my husband a quilt quickly than finishing the Great Wolf Lodge quilt. But I did eventually finish that too. This is just a rag quilt, superhero rag quilt, that we cozy up with on the couch usually. So we've got Wonder Woman, Batman. Is that Superman or is it Supergirl? I feel like I thought there was Supergirl represented in here. That might just be Superman. There's the Wonder Woman print again, and well, I guess this is where Supergirl is, right? We've got a bunch of the female superheroes represented, or villains, depending on what point in their storyline you're talking about for some of them. But anyway, just simple rag quilt. For those of you who might not be familiar, you sew these together, the seams, so you sew, these are flannels. You put two squares wrong side together, and you can, I have some where I've done like an X in the middle to hold them steady. And then you sew them together with the seams. The seams are going to be on the front. And when you're all done, you do like a 1/2 inch or even 3/4 inch seam. And then when you're all done, you just snip every, I don't know, 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch along all those seams. And along the edge, you just do a stitch, like a stay stitch along the edges. And then you can trim on the edges too, and those will fray a lot. And it just frays over time, and it's just warm and snuggly. So when I was leaving Florida, in Florida, my quilt shop was really my community. It was Once Upon a Quilt. I know I've talked about them before. They were wonderful. They threw me my baby shower for my oldest. I spent tons of time there. I took tons of classes, loved it there. When I was leaving Florida, just to be clear, I was happy to be leaving Florida. I was not happy to be leaving the friends that I'd made at the quilt shop. And other places too, but mostly at the quilt shop. They gifted me this quilt, which I thought was really lovely of them. Very northern, right? Northern winter themed quilts. I thought it was very, very kind. So I'm going to back up and show it better. Parts of it are like panel, parts of it are pieced. Well, probably all of it was made with a panel. Parts of it require a little more piecing, some less so. We had someone who worked as a long armor in the shop. This is the back. And she did the long arming on it, which is stars. Stars and swirls, it looks like. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, it was a gift, and quilters don't often get gifts of quilts, so I was very happy to get this. Very grateful. I was really touched. And then, I think I've probably shown this before, but even if I have, I'm going to show it again. Pretty proud of this. It's not a very big quilt. I did it from a kit. Let's see if I can show it. So you can get an idea what it looks like. I used a purple grunge on the back. It has fairies. It's all like, it's got, we have thistles growing here, but there's thistles. We have lots of thistles growing here. All these fairy prints. This is one of the first kits I like sent away from, and then I just sat for years. So I just pretty recently finished this quilt. This to me is very hard. Not to sew up, but it's the, because I don't work on quilts, like I don't sit down, start a quilt, and work till I'm done. And I don't typically, here I have kind of a dedicated space, but at home certainly I do not have a dedicated space that's just mine, right? That other people aren't also potentially gonna like mess with. So it's very hard to have lots of pieces in a block that then I have to keep track of until they get sewn together. So that's what made this hard. It wasn't the physical sewing, it was, or like matching points or any of that. It was just keeping track of all of the bits and pieces until I could get to the point of sewing them. But yeah, I love this one. My stitchy space, my stitchy spot here is out here. You can't see it, there's a chair right here. And this quilt stays on my chair. Okay, that's it for here. I'm gonna clean up this area and I'll be back somewhere else. Okay, back again. You can probably hear my dog walking around. You might be able to hear my daughter is sewing in the craft room. There's noises going on and the lighting is not great, but I'm gonna do my best. So this is my son's room. They're messy bunk beds. You know me, I don't clean, not for a video anyway. So here is Liam's Quillo, because I did one for him too. This is made of flannels that I'm pretty sure, I want to say these were connecting threads. Flannels. And then the pocket on his, oh, sorry for bumping you, is that. I did machine, so this is just simple machine quilting, just like grid, straight lines. I don't mark them out or anything, I just eyeball them. So yeah, anyway, went through like a Quillo phase. Made Quillos for a bunch of us. Sorry, I'm gonna go off camera. Put that away. I'm trying to see, so Liam does not love quilts as much as, I shouldn't say that. Liam has like sensory issues and things that wouldn't bother most people. Like they can drive him crazy. And so he needs like super soft. So I'm sorry to say at this point, many of his quilts are store-bought. I've made him tons of quilts, but they're not the layer he's gonna put against his skin most of the time. I think I've shown you guys, I recently did one for him that has minky on the back, which he loves, but it's really hot. So he's just got some store-bought blankets that he can throw on here. He doesn't usually need anything. Okay, this is for when my kids were little, a train quilt. And I'm trying to think, I can't remember if I had a pattern for this or if I just made it up. Because either one is possible. I'm not sure. If you remember my son's shark quilts, you might recognize some of these fabrics, like the train tracks ended up as some of the sharks. But it's just train themed. My kids love trains. They have had a grandpa who worked for a railroad for his entire career. So it was like part of our lives. Like it is a lot of people. So this was kind of a quick and easy, just fun quilt for my kids. My younger son, he likes to have like 400 quilts on him. We need to get him some bigger quilts on this bed, so it's actually convenient to do today. I'm going to get some of these off of here and replace them with some bigger quilts. This is a Jelly Roll Race quilt. For any of you who haven't seen one or done one, this was, I feel like this might be like Jelly Roll from Joann's or something though. I feel like this is something my kids saw and wanted, and I was like, fine. But I like also didn't want to put a lot of time into what I was going to do with it. So yeah, Jelly Roll Race it was. And I also had this long armed, again, extra wide backing. I can't make out what it is. Swirls? I can't tell if they're just swirls or if they're flowers. Whatever. It works, it holds everything together. And then I know the binding I just pulled from something I had enough of in my scrap bin. I should get the boys a quilt rack in here. If anybody knows, like has, you know, just like the standing quilt racks, if anybody has a good source for those, let me know, because I could use another, like 10 of them. But I feel like I don't find any that I like very often. One second, Maddie, I'm almost done. And when I do find one that I like, a wooden one that I like, it's really expensive. This was, I want to say these are Amy Butler. Are these Amy Butler? Correct me if I'm wrong. This was a layer cake. Pretty sure Amy Butler fabrics. And yeah, I mean, I just sewed them together. Again, I wasn't, I had a lot of fabric, and I wasn't feeling like putting a lot of time in, but I knew this was very much like my younger son and that he would love it. So I just sewed them together, and he got a quick, nearly twin size quilt out of it. And this is a Tula Pink. This is probably my favorite Tula Pink backing of all time. I love it. Yeah, and that's it. Goes on my son's bed. All right, I will reset in another room. Okay, hi everyone. I should think this out better before I start filming. There's stuff everywhere. I'm in my daughter's room here at the cabin, which we're gonna be cleaning some later. And you can probably hear her sewing next door. I will show you what she's been sewing when I get into the sewing room, because I want to talk about that too. Anyway, here's some of the quilts in Maddie's room. This is just a small, I think I've heard this referred to as Chinese coins quilt. These were leftovers from another quilt that I made that I showed in probably my first quilting video. It was like raw edge, like woven strips. I don't know that you remember that because you're not as familiar with my quilting collection as I am. But yeah, this is just small lap quilts, but it stays here at the bottom of her bed. This was one of the first quilts I made, and it's just squares sewn together. It's just a layer cake sewn together, easy peasy. And then I quilted it myself, did in the ditch, and then also lines like 1.5 inches. And again, I would have just eyeballed it. I'm too lazy to mark stuff out. Oh my goodness, I put a label on it. I'm trying to read my label. This was April of 2009. And I know I used a pigment pen, but it's still, my ink's coming out. Anyway, yeah, simple quilt. So this was Liam, so you're not gonna be able to see. My son Liam, this is one of his favorite quilts because you can't see it from this angle, but he would go under it, you know, like over his head to play, and all these bright colors from the front would like shine through on the back, like it was like a stained glass window or something, and he would love it. He'd go under it and like pick out the colors. I should put this in his room because that's a memory attached to him. This is another rag quilt, but this time I want to say these are Michael Miller fabrics. So I just used 2 of them for the body of the quilt. There's stars and, sorry, they're upside down, horses. My horses are unicorns. They're unicorns. This would have been several years ago I made this. So I just did simple patchwork. It's folded in half right now. And then at the ends, I used one of these border prints or like curtain prints to make it a little bit bigger and finish it off. So it's like it's more like a full-size quilt. Like it could fit on a full-size bed, but definitely covers my kids on a twin. But it's got these parade of kids and like magical creatures at the bottom, which I thought was really cute. So that goes at the top and the bottom for my daughter. And then, I don't know if I can get this out of here. See how messy everything is? This is, I've shown you one of these before. Okay, can I say this is one of my favorite fabric lines of all time. They used to sell it at Pat Catan's. It's a Riley Blake fabric. Pat Catan's was a craft store that they had in the Pittsburgh area. I'm not sure how far out it went. It's since been acquired by Michaels. But in the last couple of years that it was Pat Catan's, they started selling some quilt shop quality fabric from Riley Blake. And this was one of the lines, and I love it. It is Peter Pan, and this was just a jelly roll. So I've showed one like this that I've done for my son, my middle child, before. I'm not gonna be able to show all of them, but you just sew all the jelly roll strips together, top to bottom. You'll end up with an 84-inch long by approximately 42-inch wide panel, and then just pick any yardage that you like. Look at how beautiful. I don't like, this is Peter Pan, but it like, I guess the color palette and the design reads far more sophisticated to me. I love it. I absolutely love it. Look at all the artwork. It's just beautiful. Anyway, you just sew a strip on either side, and then your kid's got a quilt where the width of these stripes is basically the width of a twin-size bed. So it makes it really easy for them to make their bed. This would have been a wide back. I don't know, like from whose collection or anything, but just a gingham wide back I put on the back of it, and I'll clean up my daughter's bed later. We got to clean up her whole room later. She does have, in case you're wondering, a slide bed in here. She's got a ladder to go up and a slide to go down. We were trying to get the dog to go on the slide the other day with mixed results. Anyway, one more room. I'll take you to my craft room. Okay, I'm back. I'm in the craft room, holding my camera. I'm gonna make you guys just a little bit dizzy for a minute. I'm not gonna show you all the quilts in here, but I'm gonna show you why. I'm not showing you all the quilts in here. We're leaving tomorrow, so I will be cleaning this up before we go. But this is what my craft room looks like right now. So we've got 2 beds in here. I have 2 like antique store or yeah, like antique mall. How do I point? Finds in here. How am I doing this? They're falling off the bed. Yeah, but I'm not cleaning all this off to show you those quilts right now. That's more than I'm kind of willing to do. I'm gonna spin you around. Sewing machine. This is the other bed. This is a quilt made by me, right here. Oh my God, how do you point? This is not my first video. This is a quilt made by me. Underneath it's a store-bought quilt. This is an LL Bean quilt down there. This is a quilt antique store find, and this one is made by me. But I'm not cleaning all that up right now. All right, so I'm gonna come back in just a minute and I'll show you what I've been working on. Okay, this is the last segment, I promise. First, I just wanted to say, for those of you who have little people in your life, I wanted to show you what my daughter's been working on. So, Maddie's 8. I've used sewing machines with her before. She doesn't do it a lot, but she does it some. She's definitely interested. Yesterday I was in here, I think I said earlier, I've been in like a cutting mood. I just enjoying cutting for quilts. She came in and wanted to sew, but I also wanted to keep cutting. So I gave her a job that she could do independently. So, and if you don't have little people in your life, you can just ignore everything I'm about to say, but I guess I just want to share this because I know sometimes if we're caring for young people, it can be a struggle to also like find time for yourself. And I guess one way I get through it is by giving my kids tasks. Well, okay, so I'm not explaining this well, right? If we're working on a quilt that is very fussy and that is important to us and that we want to make sure is done just right, I think it's better to maybe not work on that with the little person. I try to give my kids if they want to do something, I try to give them tasks that they can accomplish without me correcting them. You know, I like something they can just play and have fun and do. So I have these layer cakes. Oh, those are important. I have these flannel layer cakes. I've got 4 of them. I've got 2 of the blues and 2 that are like rainbow. That I'm gonna make one of those rag quilts with. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be awesome. So she was in here yesterday while I was cutting for a Lori Holt quilt and wanted to do something, and I wanted to keep cutting. So I was like, hey, why don't you? So this is like perfect, right? She gets to pick a square from the rainbow side and a square from the blue side, and all she has to do is sew an X. And if things don't perfectly match up, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be fine. It's a rag quilt. So for the last few days, she's been spending time doing this. And she's hanging out in here with me, and she's really happy, and I'm really happy, and this quilt's getting done, and everyone's happy. So I guess that's my tip. Sometimes you have to adjust what's gonna be worked on if you want little people involved. Because like correcting people, like it was not going to be fun for anybody if I'm really concerned about a 1/4 inch seam and I need to make sure it's perfect and you know, that sort of thing. So giving somebody a task that's like lower maintenance doesn't really matter. It's easier to play with. It makes everybody happy. Anyway, sorry, I'm sure you can hear my family. So I had already started cutting for this, but I finished cutting for this seesaw quilt. This was a Jolly Bar kit from the Fat Quarter Shop. And this tray, I actually got the tray from Happy Little Stitch Shop. You can't see it well. Everything's gonna slide. It's a Lori Holt melamine tray. Actually here. You can kind of see the pattern. It's from one of her fabrics. I don't remember which line this came with, but I just have everything laid out on the tray. I actually like the tray a lot. It's got handles and it's sturdier than the design board. So I have everything stacked. This is the binding fabric, so I haven't cut into it yet. But I've got everything stacked and ready to go. So the next time I come here, I can go ahead and sew if I want. This is the backing set. I don't know if I'll use it or not because I do usually prefer wide backs. What's the collection? This is Catalina from Fig Tree. I do love Fig Tree. So these are just all a bunch of squares. So anyway, those blocks will start getting put together. Like I said, soon. All right, trying to stay organized. So the Lori Holt quilt I was cutting for yesterday was this one. I bought this when it went on clearance. I was like on the fence about it for a long time because I kind of like it, but also kind of it's not my style, but I love, and I have a son who loves cooking and baking, and anyway, finally it went on sale and I went for it, and I'm glad I did. So I'm not going to take everything out, but these are Farm Girl Vintage 2 fabrics, and I got everything cut. Not the border. I didn't do the outside border fabric, and I didn't do the binding fabric yet, but I did everything else. It all fits great, cut up in this box. My scraps are in the scrap bin that I have here, and so this is also ready to sew whenever I decide to pick it up. And the other thing that I cut for, so I used to buy a lot of connecting threads kits. I occasionally still do. They're not, so they're like between a Joann's quality. If you never had them, I feel like they're between a Joann's quality and a Quilt Shop quality fabric. They're priced accordingly. There's something satisfying to me about their kits. I don't know what it, I mean, I like a lot of them, but they can be pretty quick and easy to put together, and it's kind of not too much thought, and you can just do it and get a great product at the end. So this one, I'll show you the fabrics because they definitely don't show up well in there, but this is just a simple trip around the world throw size quilt. It's got, I really like the fabrics. They're kind of 30s-ish. The main fabric in it is this blue, and this is strip piece, so I've cut all the strips. So I'm ready to start sewing those. If you don't know by strip piece, I mean that instead of cutting each square to start with, you sew just strips, and you sew all the strips together until you have a strip set, and then you cut the strip set, and it's like you've already sewn the squares together. These are the rest of them. I love this one. You see, they're kind of like 30s-ish fabrics, like that style, which I love. So that one's cut and ready to go. I have so much stuff. I'm knocking around this room. So I have a cabinet of stuff here. There's cross stitch project bags hanging. I've got a cart over here with quilt projects on it. I've got a cabinet with fabric, another cabinet with fabric over there. There's stuff everywhere. Oh, I gotta put this back. I don't want to lose the pattern to the ovens. That would be bad. And then what I am planning on cutting later today, I've got everything kind of laid out and ready, is for this quilt, again from Connecting Threads. I have so many of these kits here. I just kind of powering through cutting a bunch of them, so they're ready to go when I want to sew them. It's called Chocolate Swirl. It's really easy. It's 90 by 90, so it's going to be a good size quilt. And I'll show you some of the fabrics. They're kind of like Civil War repro-ish. I don't really have like one specific style that I stick to, right? Like some people just love Civil War repros or just love modern. I'm kind of all over the place. I love them all. So these are more Civil War repro-ish, but obviously I also love Tula Pink and stuff. And I love 30s repros. I do all kinds of stuff. So anyway, that's it. That's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you saw something you liked. Leave some comments below. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you have favorite quilts. If you have a vote for what I should sew together first. Freya. She was going to misbehave. There's a rug in her sister's room, my daughter's room, that she likes to make a mess Okay, that's it. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you're working on. I love to hear how you guys are doing and what you're doing and which of my projects you love to see. I like to know that too. Thanks, guys. Bye.